Yes, well, I think there is a similarity with the abdication, that here is a royal prince really turning his back on his family for the love of an American divorcee wife. However, the difference is that in this situation, it seems to be Meghan which is very much driving this move for a sort of alternative lifestyle, whereas in 1936, contrary to popular opinion, Wallis Simpson desperately tried to prevent Edward from abdication and absolutely did not want him to leave the throne or his duties as king and king emperor.
Is it ever possible then, when you look at the current situation, Anna, to be a part royal?
No, I really don't think it is. And I think this is what Harry and Meghan are going to find. You cannot have one foot in the royal household and another foot in the commercial world. You're either all in or all out. And I think that this decision, which feels hot-headed and impetuous to me, may be something that certainly Harry comes to regret.
Dr. Shola, give us...
with that.
Yes, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. I have to fully disagree with that. Can I just correct you? My name is Shola Mos-Shogbamimu, not Shola Shogbamimu. That's okay.
My apologies. Carry on,
That's
please.
Okay. I have to disagree with this. First of all, there is no comparison between Meghan Markle and Wallis Simpson. For goodness sake, first of all, Harry is not abdicating the throne. He's not giving up his royal rights or his heritage, and he's not going into exile. There is no comparison. And it's not Meghan that's driving this. We really need to stop this nonsense, stereotypical trope about this woman being the fault of what's going on. Harry and Meghan made a choice as a couple, as you would with your own partner, as I would with my own partner. I think it's really important for us to respect their choices. And it's also important for us to recognize that though that they're royals, they're not public chattels. They're not there to be commanded at will or abused at will.
I'm sorry.
And that is why their decision to move and to live independently is right. And it is incorrect to say that they cannot be royals and be independent.
No, I'm sorry.
Nobody has done that before. No one has done it before, so good on them for being the first. It doesn't mean it cannot be done.
Anna.
No, I'm sorry, it is completely incorrect to say that you can be royals and lead this independent life. You cannot be a member of the senior household.
How would you know? You're not royal.
I'm sorry, I have studied the biography of
still not royal.
No, but I absolutely know how the royal household works, how the courtiers work, and it is absolutely incorrect to say that they can lead this dual life.
This is 2020. It's the
exactly,
21st
but Harry
what I suggest, if I may for a moment,
Did you hear how powerful this woman is? My people, sit with me for a moment, because before we even break down the full conversation, before we go line by line into what was said on that panel, we must take a moment to acknowledge something that has become abundantly clear every time Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu opens her mouth on national television. This woman is a force of nature. She doesn't raise her voice to dominate others. She raises truth to dominate lies. She doesn't step onto a TV platform to seek attention. She steps onto those stages to speak with a clarity that slices through the fog of misinformation that the British media has spent years building around Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Every time Shola appears on screen, she brings a combination of intellect, strength, passion and fearlessness that shakes the entire table clean. She walks into those hostile spaces with grace and leaves with victory. She exposes hypocrisy without even needing to shout. She dismantles false narratives with a calmness that is more powerful than any anger. And each time she reminds the world that truth does not need permission to exist. Truth only needs a voice brave enough to carry it. Before we even played the preview clip, so many of you in our audience already knew. When Shola speaks, the nation listens. The media may not like her, the establishment may try to ignore her, but the people hear her. Not because she insults anyone, not because she is confrontational, but because she stands on the solid ground of truth and refuses to bow to the pressure of public narratives designed to harm Meghan Markle.
So they weren't in the loop about what is such a seismic decision?
let us be fair that when it comes to the media is not known to be impartial or, quite frankly, honest with anything that's got to do with Harry and Meghan. I think this outrage is media manipulated. We do not know for a fact whether or not the Queen is outraged. We don't know if she was taken by surprise. How can, for instance, just yesterday we were told that she had given them instruction not to give out the announcement at a certain time, which means she wasn't blindsided, which means that she knew that something was going to happen and that discussion had taken place. But the important thing is this, right? Yes, we accept that they're independent. We understand that they're royals. They will always be royal. They will always be royalty. Harry will always be part of the royal family. He's not next in line, neither are his children. So if he chooses to have a different form of lifestyle, he should be able to.
Okay, so Anna, do you want to just pick up on some of those thoughts?
It's the 21st century, and I think it's important for us to respect that.
I think that the point is that if they want a very different lifestyle, it really is a form of exile that they will be going into, because I completely disagree with Shona that you cannot both be a royal, as you're talking about, and then pursue a commercial life. We've seen that trading on royal connections to enhance yourself commercially with Prince Andrew does not work. You have to have very clear delineations, and the Duchess of Sussex and Harry wanting to have a sort of progressive new royal court, I think will come up at odds with the old system, which you may say is archaic, but actually it has ensured the survival of the House of Windsor when many other royal houses have fallen. And this is all down to the Queen and the Queen's strength as the matriarch. And I think it's ridiculous of you to say that we don't know that the Queen didn't know about this announcement, when courtiers have absolutely briefed the press that the Queen didn't know, and that is how it works. There is not this media manipulation that you talk about.
What is ridiculous is not to understand that the media have been unduly harsh towards Harry and Meghan. And what is equally ridiculous is to suggest that because there's a set system and tradition that it's going to continue to work, it's going to continue to make the royal family relevant. That is ridiculous. And what is equally ridiculous is to continue to apply this ridiculous stereotypical trope to Meghan, that, oh, it's another American woman that's come to change the establishment. It's nonsense. They are a couple that we should respect. They have not done anything wrong. They've not brought the royal family into any form of disrepute. Prince Andrew has. Yet nobody has stripped him of his own title. Nobody has said that he can no longer do ABC. Yes, we understand he stepped aside from certain things, but the reality is he's still royalty. So if you can still talk about him, if you can still talk about it in spite of the shame and disgrace he's brought to the royal family,
I would like
given
to
that
thank,
he's been alleged to commit rape and all of that, then we have to pay attention and give respect to Harry and Meghan.
But
if I may, Dr.
This is why we love this woman. This is why she is respected. This is why millions who are tired of the relentless, nasty, unfair attacks on Meghan find comfort and strength in her words. Today we will walk through what she said, why she said it, and why her voice matters more than ever. The moment the interview begins, you can immediately see the familiar pattern that we've watched for years. The other guest, speaking with outdated royal fantasies, tries to drag Meghan Markle back into the tired, problematic narrative of 1936. They attempt to compare Meghan to Wallis Simpson, reviving the same sexist and racist trope the British media has milked dry. The insinuation is always the same. Blame the woman, blame the American, blame the outsider, blame the black woman. It is the same pattern they use again and again. But then Shola steps in. She corrects her name first with the kind of grace and dignity that only a confident woman possesses. She sets the tone. Respect me, because I'm here to tell the truth. Then, the moment she begins speaking, the entire energy changes. She cuts through the nonsense in a single breath. There is no comparison between Meghan Markle and Wallis Simpson. With that one sentence, she resets the entire debate. She dismantles the foundation that the other guest was building on. She refuses to let Meghan be dragged into a narrative that was never hers. She reminds them, and the viewers watching, that Harry is not giving up anything. Harry is not abdicating. Harry is not losing his heritage. Harry is not going into exile. And Meghan is not the mastermind pulling strings behind the scenes. Shola hits the core truth that the media has tried desperately to hide. Harry and Meghan made this decision together, as partners, as equals, as a couple protecting their mental health and their family. Shola calls for respect, a respect the media refuses to give them. And with that, she exposes the entire narrative as nonsense. This chapter is perhaps one of the most important truths Shola highlights. When she says they are not public chattels, the air shifts. Because that phrase exposes everything wrong with how the media and parts of the British public see Harry and Meghan. For years, the British press has treated the royal family, not just the institution, but the actual human beings inside it, as property. They believe that because of tradition, because of lineage, because of titles, they somehow own these people's lives. They feel entitled to every detail, every moment, every decision, every breath. Shola destroys that illusion. She reminds the world that being royal does not strip you of your human rights. It does not turn you into an object for public consumption. It does not give the media the right to abuse you, harass you, or torment you daily. Harry and Meghan are not property. They are not dolls for the public to emotionally play with. They are not slaves to an institution. They are people. Shola speaks the truth others are too afraid or too dishonest to say loudly. And in that moment she becomes a shield for Harry and Meghan, standing firmly against the tidal wave of entitlement that the media has fed for years. This is where Shola elevates the conversation from ordinary commentary to masterful analysis. She exposes the truth behind the headlines. She calls out what the media has always done: create outrage where none exists. She tells the hosts, "We do not know the Queen's real feelings. We do not know what conversations actually happened. We only know what the tabloids claim they know." And she is right. The British tabloids have built their business on manufacturing tension. They twist every tiny detail, twist every expression, twist every rumour into breaking news. Shola reveals the contradictions. They said the Queen was blindsided. They also said the Queen gave instructions. The two cannot both be true. And yet the public buys the story because the tabloids sell it loudly. Why? Because scandal sells, because outrage sells, because demonizing Meghan sells better than anything else. And Shola slices through these lies with surgical precision, like a doctor removing a tumour. She reveals the manipulation, exposes the motives, and brings the public back to reality. Shola's argument here is rooted in logic, fairness, and common sense, something the royal establishment rarely embraces. She asks, in essence, if Harry is not the future king, if Meghan does not hold a position tied to the throne, if their children will not inherit the crown, then why are they expected to live under suffocating rules written a century ago? She calls out the absurdity of the expectation that Harry and Meghan must sacrifice their well-being for tradition. Harry wants peace for his wife and children. Meghan wants safety. They want mental health, freedom, independence, creativity, and space to grow. They want what any sane human being would want. Shola praises them for stepping into uncharted territory, being the first royals to attempt a hybrid life, the first to challenge the old system, the first to demand modernity. Instead of shaming them, she celebrates their courage, and that is why her voice matters. This chapter is the explosion. This is the moment the room goes still. Shola exposes the deep hypocrisy the media refuses to touch. A man accused of sexual assault. a man linked to Jeffrey Epstein, a man who brought real disgrace to the monarchy, is still treated with more dignity, respect and softness than Meghan Markle, a woman whose only crime was marrying into the royal family while being biracial, successful, outspoken and unwilling to be bullied into silence. Shola tells the truth so many fear to say, if Prince Andrew can still be spoken of with respect, then how dare you treat Harry and Meghan like criminals? That line ends the debate. No one recovers from that truth. She shuts it down completely. This is where Shola, without hesitation, shines a spotlight on the truth beneath the surface. The media's obsession with blaming Meghan is not logical. It is rooted in misogyny and racism, specifically misogynoir, the unique kind of hate reserved for black women. She calls it out, the stereotype, the scapegoating, the demonization, the idea that Meghan is the problem simply by existing. She demands an end to this nonsense. She demands respect. She demands fairness. She demands humanity. Her voice becomes the sword that cuts the ropes of lies wrapped around Meghan's name. We love Shola because she is fearless in a world that rewards silence. She speaks truth in places where truth is unwelcome. She stands firm even when surrounded by those who would prefer she sit quietly and let the lies go unchallenged. We love her because she defends Harry and Meghan not with blind loyalty, but with facts, history, logic, and moral clarity. She speaks not from emotion alone, but from a deep understanding of justice. But above all, we love her because she shows us. Courage is contagious. Truth is powerful. And when a black woman stands firmly in her truth, the entire world shakes. Today's podcast is not just a recap of an interview. It is a celebration of a woman who refuses to let injustice speak louder than her voice. Dr. Shola, thank you for always speaking truth to power.